Okay, on part 27, we left off finishing up on the toxicology reports. And so let's move right into part 28. This is going to be a report from Officer Amanda Purcell. And it's dated September the 3rd. And it says on August the 13th, 2018, a triple homicide of Shanann Watts, 34, and her two daughters, Bella and Celeste, occurred in their Frederick home. I respectfully submit the following items for forensic testing. Items 1, 2, and 3 is king-size bedding recovered from the kitchen trash of the Watts residence. Items 1 and 3 contain residue believed to be makeup, possibly eyeshadow. Requesting DNA comparison with Shanann Watts, analysis of the residue, and the existence of a face print on any of these items. Item 12 is a blue nitrile glove recovered from the top of the refrigerator located within the Watts residence, requesting DNA analysis and latent print comparison testing. Items 26 and 27 are black plastic trash bags recovered from a field close to where the bodies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste were recovered, requesting DNA analysis and testing for latent fingerprints. Item 28 is a fitted bed sheet recovered from a field close to where the bodies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste were recovered, requesting DNA analysis and search for additional evidence. Items 29, 30, and 32 are separate parts of a rake recovered from the top of a shallow grave from which Shanann was recovered, requesting DNA analysis and latent print comparison testing. Item 31 is what appears to be blonde hair recovered from the upper access opening of the crude oil storage of the east tank, located at well site survey 319, requesting DNA analysis and comparison with the DNA of Celeste Watts. Items 35 through 39 are swabs taken from Celeste Watts during the autopsy, requesting DNA analysis and comparison with the DNA of Shanann and Chris Watts. Item 40 are vaginal swabs from Celeste Watts taken at the autopsy, requesting DNA analysis and comparison with the DNA of Chris Watts. Items 41 and 43 are the DNA card and control swabs associated with Celeste Watts that were obtained at autopsy. Items 35 and 39 are taken from Celeste during the autopsy, requesting DNA analysis comparison with the DNA of Shanann and Chris. Item 40 are vaginal swabs from Celeste taken at the autopsy, requesting DNA analysis and comparison with the DNA of Chris Watts. Items 41 and 43 are the DNA card and the control swabs associated with Celeste that were obtained at autopsy. Item 44 is the left and right hand degloved skin with fingernails from Celeste. These items were recovered from the crude oil storage tank east, located at the well site survey 319, requesting an examination for the DNA source and subsequent analysis. Items 53 and 54 are Palmer swabs taken from Bella Watts during the autopsy, requesting DNA analysis and comparison. Items 55 and 56 are left and right hand nail clippings from Bella Watts recovered at autopsy, requesting an examination for the DNA source and subsequent analysis. Items 57 and 58 are the DNA card and control swabs associated with Bella Watts that were obtained at autopsy. Items 60 and 61 are clothing obtained from Shanann Watts at the autopsy, requesting DNA analysis and comparison. Items 67 and 68 are right and left hand nail clippings from Shanann recovered at autopsy, requesting an examination for the DNA source and subsequent analysis. Items 69 and 70 are Palmer swabs taken from Shanann during autopsy, requesting DNA analysis and comparison. Items 71, 72, and 77 are face and anterior neck swabs taken from Shanann during autopsy, requesting DNA analysis and comparison. Items 73 and 76 are control swabs and fingerprints from Shanann Watts obtained at autopsy. Items 88 and 89 are protective seat covers removed from the driver's seat and front passenger seat of Chris's work truck, requesting examination for trace evidence and subsequent analysis. Item 90 is a roll of black plastic trash bags recovered from Chris's work truck, requesting analysis and comparison to black trash bags recovered from the Serby 319 oil tank site. Items 91 and 93 are trace lifts from Chris Watt's work truck, requesting examination for trace evidence and subsequent analysis. And then it's signed, Sincerely, Detective Dave Baumover. Okay, going on down, CBI request for laboratory examination. Suspect Chris Watts, victim Shanann, victim Bella, victim Celeste. Homicide times 3. And this just tells the CBI Forensic Sciences, and this shows what they have got into evidence, which is 1 pillowcase with residue, pillowcases, top sheet with residue, blue nitrile glove, black plastic bag, gray and white bed sheet. Investigating officer was Detective Baumover. Additional contact is Amanda Purcell. Going on down, this is more evidence that was collected. Other items of evidence was rake head, rake handle, suspected hair from the east oil tank, partial rake handle, face swabs from Celeste, face swabs from Celeste before and after cleaning, neck swabs before and after cleaning, oral swabs from Celeste, vaginal swabs from Celeste, DNA card Celeste, control swabs Celeste, degloved skin, left and right hands with fingernails, face swabs Bella, anterior neck swabs before and after cleaning, face swabs Bella, oral swabs Bella, vaginal Bella, left palmar swab, right palmar swab, left hand nail clippings, right hand nail clippings, all from Bella. Okay, and this is control swabs Bella, DNA card from Bella, blue thong underwear Shanann, purple and white shirt Shanann, right hand nail clippings Shanann, left hand nail clippings Shanann, right hand palmar swab from Shanann. Okay, going on down, left hand palmar swab from Shanann, face swab Shanann, anterior neck swab Shanann, control swab Shanann, fingerprints Shanann, anterior neck swabs after cleaning Shanann, driver's side seat cover from the work truck, passenger side seat cover from the work truck, roll of black trash bags from the work truck, trace lift from the center console, trace lift from the back seat, driver's side, trace lift from the back seat, passenger side, and evidence submitted receipt, date received September the 4th, 2018 at 3:53 p.m. requested by officer, hand-to-hand transfer. Evidence, items 3 through 20, pillowcase with residue, pillowcases, top sheet with residue, blue nitrile glove, black plastic bag, gray and white bed sheet, rake head, rake handle, suspected hair from the east oil tank, partial rake handle, face swabs from Celeste before and after cleaning, anterior neck swabs from Celeste before and after cleaning, vaginal swabs Celeste, DNA Celeste, degloved skin, left and right hands with fingernails from Celeste. On down, this is going to be Bella, face swabs from Bella before and after cleaning, anterior neck swabs from Bella before and after cleaning, face swabs from Bella, vaginal swabs, left hand nail clipping, right hand nail clipping, DNA card, all from Bella. Going into Shanann's, blue thong underwear, purple and white shirt, right hand nail clippings, left hand nail clipping, face swabs, anterior neck swabs, fingerprints, anterior neck swabs after cleaning, so they got before and after. Passenger side seat cover, work truck, roll of black trash bags from the work truck and trace lifts from the backseat passenger side. Going on down. A witness complaint. The person is a witness. The name is Nicole Kessinger, and the arrest suspect, Chris Watts. And it reads, on September the 4th at approximately 1300 hours, or 1 p.m., I met with Nicole Kessinger at the CBI headquarters located in Lakewood, Colorado. I was introduced by CBI Kobach, who had interviewed her several times previous to my introduction. I advised Nicole that I am now her point of contact regarding this case and that Kobach would attend other cases he was assigned to at CBI. Nicole acknowledged this information and presented me with a 7-page typed document that she generated containing notes of events that she recalled since her last meeting with Kobach. The events documented reportedly occurred between June the 25th through August the 13th. I advised Nicole I would review the notes she provided me, along with the reports and recordings from all of the previous interviews, and contact her with any follow-up questions I may have. Nicole acknowledged my statement, and our meeting ended shortly thereafter. Kobach agreed to complete a follow-up interview with Nicole's friend and provide me the reports. While at the CBI headquarters, I took custody of Nicole's cell phone, which was an iPhone 6, which she had previously surrendered to Kobach. I placed the cell phone into evidence and entered the CBI chain of custody form into the case file. Nothing further. So Kobach had given her back her phone. We all saw that after he downloaded what he needed off of, and then it looks like that she gave it back to him again on September the 4th. And this receives notes received from Nicole Kessinger on 9/4/18. 1. Approximately June the 25th or 26th in person. Ask Chris when he and Shanann had decided to separate. He told me late March and early April of 2018. I asked if he still lived with her, and he told me yes. Said that she was home, he slept in a different room, and when she was gone, he would occasionally sleep in the master bedroom, but not frequently because the bed was uncomfortable. I asked why he decided to separate from Shanann, and Chris told me Shanann was bossy, and I asked what he meant by bossy. Chris responded that she was controlling, said that they really didn't argue much though, and said that once many years ago he attempted to stand his ground with her, and she told him, "Get out of my house," and made him leave for a night. Chris said that he tried to avoid arguments ever since then, said that now if him and Shanann agree, she would make nasty comments to him and he would just ignore them. I asked if she talked like that in front of the kids, and he said yes, my kids started to repeat her words, and that is why I wanted the separation. I asked him what he said to his kids when they repeated Shanann's words. Chris said he would tell his kids that it's not nice to say that to anybody. I asked Chris if Shanann was bossy in front of his friends, and Chris said that Shanann was all about appearances in all aspects of her life, and that in front of her friends she would occasionally be bossy, but she would turn it into kind of a joke so that it was more discreet. I asked him how long the communication breakdown between them had been going on, and Chris said 6 years, and that the last year or two were the worst. Well, it sure sounds like she's asking a lot of questions about his relationship with his wife and his kids and his home life, and why would she be asking if she done that in front of the kids, or if the kids were doing it too, and all this kind of stuff. Because I almost feel certain when he answered her the way she said he's answering her, I'm sure she just didn't say anything back, right? I mean, she's not saying here that she said anything back to him, when he would give her the answers to the questions she asked. But can you imagine being a fly on the wall? And using, for example, this question. I asked if she talked like that in front of the kids, and he said yes, my kids had started to repeat her words, and that is why I wanted the separation. So do you think Nicole just didn't say anything back to that? She didn't say anything here about saying anything back, but I can assure you she did. I would you? You know, I mean, if your friend told you that, you would have a reply back, right? So, you know she did. But what was her reply? Was it like, you put up with that, you shouldn't put up with that, that's just wrong, she's just teaching those girls to disrespect you and think it's okay, and who knows what she said back, right? But I can assure you she said something back. Well, did she even realize whatever her reply back to him was could have been planting seeds into his head? Quite possibly. Or did she know it would, and it was just a straight manipulation tactic? Which was, I mean, who knows? But I can assure you she said something back to him when he answered these questions. Who wouldn't? That is what I mean by pressure. This is some pretty personal questions. She says herself she's drilling him about, asking him all these questions. She's offering this herself. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look beyond this question she's throwing out to him, and then her nonchalantly giving the answer that he gave her. But what was her reply to that answer? I mean, you gotta wonder. I mean, the questions almost sound like something your therapist might ask you, right? Or if you was getting counseling, it doesn't just seem like something a random person you've only knew for a month would be asking questions. These kind of questions. And she was always quick to give her opinion, quick to be of quote-unquote help to his problems. So what was her opinions, advice, help to his answers to these questions? I don't guess we will ever know. But we can all assume. I have my assumptions, and I'm pretty sure you have yours as well. I asked him if he had tried to communicate to her how it made him feel when she said mean comments to him. He said he tried to talk to her many times, but it fell on deaf ears. Okay, how it made him feel. Does that not sound like a therapist? Well, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? That's getting in someone's head. That's what a therapist does. They try to make you double think your own actions and double think your own life. That's their job. That's what they do. That's part of the whole counseling. How does that make you feel? I mean, that's pretty much one of the main things they ever say. Well, she said she's doing the same thing here to him. So why was she trying to get in his head, and how does that make you feel? Why would he need to double think his own life? Or is that her place to do that? I asked Chris if they had attempted to go to counseling to fix their problems, and Chris said no. Oh, so now she is talking about counseling. Well, why would she ask him that if it almost sounds to me like she's trying to be the counselor? Chris then said that some nights he would still currently hang out next to the bed in the master bedroom with her and would try to talk to her, spend time with her until she fell asleep. Chris tells me that the other reason he was separated is because Shanann hated that he liked to work out and eat healthy. See, I don't know about that, because Thrive is all about living healthy, eating healthy, nutrients and all this and that. A lot of people speculate that she saw that he was getting fit and he was starting to look good, and even her friends were telling her, hey, he's starting to look good, you know. And so maybe there was a little jealousy going on there. But there again, she just didn't seem jealous to me at all. I mean, she would leave, 5-6 weeks, come on. If she was jealous, she wouldn't have done that. I mean, if you was super jealous of your husband, and some people are super jealous. I'm not really a jealous kind of person, but there is many out there, and I'm not even saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying, if you're that type of person, would you go across the country for 6 weeks? You know, no, you wouldn't. And even if you did go across the country for even 1 week, you would probably have a best friend or something somewhere around, keeping an eye on your man, right? Or your woman or whatever, you know. And especially if they start acting all strange and odd, you know. He's He's not talking to me. He's acting cold. He's acting distant. He's not even acting like himself anymore. He's not answering the phone. Keep an eye on him. See what he's doing. Won't you ride by the house? Things like that. You know what I'm saying? Did she do that? She had friends very close by. Amanda Thayer Atkinson, Nicole Atkinson, you know. So I don't think she was that jealous person. Not really. I think she really did trust him. And I think also she just didn't think, like she said herself, he just ain't got game. You know, he's just not the flirt, love bombing kind of person. She just didn't think he was that at all. So, yeah. Said that before they decided to separate, Shanann would get mad at him if he tried to go for a run at night once the kids were in bed. Said that Shanann felt it took away from time they should be spending together. Well, I mean, you know, if all of a sudden he suddenly started doing this running and he was gone for longer and longer at a time, you know, and they probably didn't have a lot of time together, really. So, you know, she wanted to spend some time with him. Anyway, Chris said that it was frustrating because when he would try to hang out with her, she didn't even pay attention to him and would talk on the phone or scroll through social media instead. I'm very guilty of that myself, and my husband is really guilty of that. I'll be trying to talk to him, and he'll be sitting over there just scrolling on his phone looking at a gun sight or something like that, you know, cars or something like that. And I'm like, are you even listening to me? You know, and I have to say I do the same thing. He'll be talking to me, and I'll be sitting here looking at something, and I'll be just shaking my head, yeah. And then later on, he'll say, well, remember I told you? And I'm like, And he's like, you wouldn't listen to the damn thing I said, was you? So that happens. I mean, it really does. And that is one of the problems and with technology today. And it's so true. You go out to eat, and the whole family, instead of sitting there, you know, having a conversation, if you look, the kids, the mom, the dad, everybody is looking down at their phone. That's just the way the world is today. And it's sad. It really is. It's sad, but it's a sad reality because it's just the way it is today. So even though that is a bad thing, and I do think people need to set the phones down, look more at what's right in front of you. You know, grasp the moment, the people in front of you instead of the virtual. It's hard. We all are guilty of it. Not just Shanann. We're all guilty of what Chris just said she does. And if you say you're not, then I don't think you're even being true to yourself if you're sitting here listening to me right now. Because I'll be the first to admit I'm guilty. So, and it is a sad reality. It really is. And I can assure you, at some point, Chris did the same thing to her. We actually saw and heard about Chris doing the same thing to her when they were in North Carolina. So it's not just Shanann, but it is a sad reality. Chris said that many times he would try to talk to Shanann, and she would not acknowledge him, and instead would reply with, were you talking to me? Because I wasn't listening to you. Well, that happens with me too. I just now told you all about that. My husband will say, was you even listening to me? And I've had my moments, and I'll be like, what? Huh? You know? I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say, I wasn't listening to you. I'm not going to come out and be blunt and hateful like that. And I'm not saying Shanann was hateful. We don't even know that she really said that, but, you know, I will come out and say, did what? Oh, was you talking to me? I will do that. I'm sure many of you have too. The I wasn't listening to you thing, I don't know. Take that for how you will, but I wouldn't throw that extra part in there. And who's to say she did? She may not have. Chris may not have even said she said that, you know. That could have been just something Nicole said. So, Chris told me that Shanann had asked him numerous times to take pictures of them pretending to run together so that she could post it on social media, but she would not actually go for a run with him. Do I believe that? Possibly. It's possible, you know. She was all into the healthy lifestyle kind of thing, and she was all about showing people how much energy and how she could just go and go and go and But at the same time, she probably didn't feel like doing all that running. I don't feel like running. If you see me running, well, then you better start running, because something's chasing me. I ain't on the running. I need to. It'd probably do me some good, but ain't nobody got time for that right here. I just don't have time for that. So, I mean, even if she did do that, I don't see that being a big deal, really. I mean, do you think these commercials you see on TV, where they're all running and just doing all this kinds of stuff, you know, especially these infomercials, why, you know, they're not doing that every day. That's for show. That is to sell a product, and that is what she did. So, the way I look at that, if that is true, she was just doing her job, right? It's a fact, you know. You'll open an Avon book and you see these models with their makeup just done so perfectly, right? And so you'll buy this same makeup, the exact same ones that they're wearing, and you get it, and you're so excited, and you put it on yourself, and you're like, wait a minute, this ain't looking like that. What? I did it just like this. I put this color in this. Well, the pigment's not working out. Well, let me tell you what. That ain't Avon makeup they're wearing in them pictures. They're wearing something like MAC or Urban Decay or, you know, Kylie Jenner. They're not wearing Avon makeup. Although the colors are close, it's not what they're wearing. They're selling Avon makeup. Anyway, moving right along. Sorry about that. Any of you that sell Avon out there, I'm not saying anything against Avon. I have sold Avon myself. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Avon's home items, home decoration items. I love their nail polishes, some of their skincare products, their fragrances. So I'm not saying anything about Avon. You know what I'm talking about. You see where I'm getting with this. Most of you already know I was a beautician. I'm a licensed hairdresser, stylist, cosmetologist, certified nail technician, all that. I went to college, paid my dues, got my license, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I worked for this lady one time, and her name was Sun Lee, and she's Korean. And I didn't really work for her. I worked in her shop. I was a sub. If any of you beauticians out there, you know, it's a 60-40 thing when you do cosmetology. You know, they furnish all the product, you do all the work, you get 60% and they get 40%, you know, and you get your station, whatever, your nail booth, whatever you're doing. Okay, here's the thing. And I had a hard time doing this. I really, truly did. Because I never feel right if I'm doing somebody wrong. I just feel bad to do that. Because I always feel, I believe in karma 100. I believe in karma 100%. So, and I always have. So, anyway, I would say I was giving somebody a shampoo, right? And I would shampoo their hair and get them back to my station and, you know, blow dried out and whatever. You know, just give it a little style, cut, style, whatever. They would get done and they would feel of it and they would just love the way it feels. Oh, I just love this, you know. Got so much body in it. Oh my goodness, do you sell this shampoo here? And they would be looking over at where I'd just shampooed them, and they would see the bottle of what we used there was Paul Mitchell. They would see the bottle of Paul Mitchell over there. I'm like, yeah, we sell Paul Mitchell. And it's, you know, it's up here. And personally, I really don't like Paul Mitchell. I think it weighs your hair down too much, but that's a different story. Anyway, I'd be like, yeah, we sell Paul Mitchell, but I would never say, yeah, that's what I just washed your hair in. Because even though the bottle that I took the shampoo out of when I gave them their shampoo said Paul Mitchell, it wasn't Paul Mitchell in the bottle. No. We would go to Sally's, and she would buy these gallon jugs of the Salon Care shampoos and conditioners, and they were like, at that time, $5-6 a gallon. And she would just refill all the Paul Mitchell bottles with this Sally's name brand shampoo and conditioner, which is good shampoo and conditioner. Better than Paul Mitchell, in my opinion. A whole lot cheaper, too. A regular size bottle of Paul Mitchell can run you upwards, you know, $15, $25 just for one 8-ounce bottle, 16-ounce bottle. So anyway, when we would check out, they would say, I want a bottle of that shampoo and conditioner. And I would sell it to them. And they may pay $50 for a bottle of shampoo and conditioner, thinking when they get home they're going to get the same results that they got sitting in my chair, but it's not even the same shampoo. And I always felt super bad about that. So you know what I would tell them? And I actually suddenly got very upset with me for doing this. But I wouldn't tell them that's what Sunley was doing, is putting the cheap shampoo and conditioner in the Paul Mitchell bottles. No, wouldn't tell them that. What I did tell them is, well, you know, I mean, yeah, we have it. It's $25 a bottle, but I'll tell you what, you can go to Sally's and get a gallon of the Salon Care shampoo and conditioner for like $10 or $12 for both of them, and let me tell you, it works just as good. It's amazing shampoo and conditioner. And a lot of them will be like, really? And they would really appreciate what I would tell them, and they would do that. But some of them's like, well, since I'm here, I'm just going to get that because I just love the way my hair looks. And I always felt really bad about that because they were not getting what they thought they were getting. So, God, I got too far off on that. Okay, moving right along. Said he started waking up early to lift weights because it was something he did every day, and he didn't want his routine to interfere with his time with his kiddos. Said his health was important to him, and he wished that she would have been supportive and not upset. At approximately June the 27th, 2018, in person, Chris brings condoms to my house. One box is full and unopened. The second is a set of condoms from a partially used box. I asked Chris why he had a set of partially used condoms, and Chris informs me that the condoms he has are from back when he was still having sex with his wife. He told me they had been sitting in a closet collecting dust, and that Shanann probably did not even know they were still there. I asked him why him and Shanann used to use condoms, and Chris informed me that Shanann didn't like to get messy. I was curious, so I looked up the expiration date on the condoms and noticed that the unopened set expired in late 2022. And the open set expired in early 2023. I looked up the lifespan of an unopened condom and discovered it is approximately 5 years. So based on my research, I assume these condoms were manufactured in late 2017 or early 2018. So why would she even tell them that? I don't understand that. I mean, one, it's odd. We can all just definitely say that, or I can. I think it's very odd that she would do that deeper research into when he was using condoms, or when condoms were manufactured and when they expire, and why she would ask why they used condoms. And I just, yeah, that's all odd and a bit much in my opinion. But why would she feel obligated to tell this whole 627 thing here? What would this have anything to do with this case? I don't understand. And she's saying this was 627, June the 27th. That's the day Shanann left to go to North Carolina. Supposedly, this is the day, like this is a day or two, according to them, that they had just ever met outside of work. So, the only day they ever met outside of work, or a day or two later, whatever it was, I can't remember, Chris just feels all confident and comfortable to bring 2 boxes of condoms to her house that she's going to sit down and do some scientific research on the damn things. I mean, come on. Am I the only one that finds this very odd? There's got to be more to this than why she was doing all this super research on it. What was she trying to prove? That him and Shanann had been having sex? It's his wife. You know, what was she trying to prove here? What was she trying to accomplish by doing this? And why was Chris so comfortable bringing condoms to her house the day he met her outside of work? It's just weird. It's odd. And there's a lot more to that. And why would she tell them? Why would she feel she needs to put this in her notes? What is she trying to prove here? I don't know. Okay, going on down. On or shortly after July the 4th, I complimented his home as being very beautiful. Chris said that he had always wanted a smaller ranch-style home. And Chris said that Shanann insisted on the big house because she liked to throw parties and make it look like they had everything. I asked him what type of parties that he was referring to. Chris shook his head left and right and said, just expensive parties. Chris then tells me that they had the house built and the only part of the design that he had any say in was the stonework and the paint color on the exterior of the house. Chris said his mortgage was $2,800 a month and he was tired of being house broke. And so I asked why it was so expensive. And Chris said that about $500 of the $2,800 was homeowner's insurance. Well, yeah, when you do buy a house, a lot of times your insurance is also tacked onto your payment. That's the way ours was too. So, as far as this part, she says Chris tells him that the house, the only part he had anything to do with was the work and the paint color. Well, did he just offer that out there? Or she say, did you design the house? Or who designed this house? Or what about the colors inside it? I love the way it's decorated. And that's probably what brought that on, really. So she was probably complimenting Shanann's work and decorating and such as that. But she come to find out Chris didn't have anything to do with that. It was only the exterior color and the stonework, which I believe that house should have been a different color. It's just too bland on the outside. It's too plain. It's too brown. And then it says on July the 14th, went to his house to drop him off after we visited the Shelby Mustang Museum in Boulder. And see, she takes him to his house to drop him off, right? So obviously they were in her car, right? Why haven't we saw all of this on any of Nate's footage? Because he says he gets everything, and he says it records everything, and we can see from him flipping on his remote that he's got dates, that go back. So why wasn't these looked at? They should have been. I believe there was a lot on Nate's that should have been looked at. While at his house, I felt uncomfortable, as if I did not belong there. Well, you did not belong there. You shouldn't even have had that feeling. You should have knew that before you ever even walked in the door. Of course you didn't belong there. He had built a beautiful life, and it made me think that there was still a chance for him to fix things with his wife. I told him that I did not think it was fair to Shanann or to me that he was trying to live two lives by being in a relationship with both of us at the same time. Said that I think he either needed to fix things with her and let me go, or he needed to move towards trying to finalize his divorce. Well, why are you telling him that? If you see this yourself, that he may need to try to fix things with her or let you go. He wasn't holding you with a leash. He wasn't blackmailing you to stay with him. So if you saw this for yourself, then why didn't you walk away until, as you say, he moved towards trying to finalize his divorce? Why didn't you walk away? The only thing I seen is you came on stronger after this. After this moment, you came on so much stronger. I told him that I thought his problems with Shanann were fixable, and that he should focus on trying to rekindle the relationship that they had before giving up. Okay, well, if you told him that and you were adamantly honest and sincere about that, then how was he supposed to do that with you sticking your, for better words, ass in his face all the time, showing him all the fun things of life he can have and do and be when his wife and kids are not there? You were leading him on this brand new independence teenager kind of lifestyle that was so much fun. And then when he wasn't with you and he did go to North Carolina to maybe fix his marriage, like you told him to do, then why continue to send him nudes and blow up his phone and I miss your face and, oh, I guess you're with her? Why do all that? You're contradicting the hell out of yourself. And anybody that can't see that is very, very gullible. That's all I can say. He said that Shanann was set on separating, and that so was he. He said when Shanann wants something, she gets her way. I told him I did not understand why they hadn't completed the divorce after all of these months if they were both so adamant about it. If she wanted it as bad as he stated, I did not understand why it seemed stagnant. Well, then look at the Facebook, the Facebook that you Google and search and just look at her side of the story. Did it sound like she was in the middle of a divorce? Did it sound like she was ready to end her marriage? Or did it sound like she was happily married, very much in love with her husband, and extremely excited about the fact that she was fixing to have another baby? You seen it. You Googled it. You searched her Facebook. You saw all that. So how did that seem stagnant? And how would that seem like she wanted it really bad? Come on now. I don't know anybody that would buy that, but some people do, and that's okay. That's their opinion. At this moment, I realized that he might be lying to me about his separation, so I started quizzing him on things he had told me earlier. Quizzing, aka playing mind games, aka getting in someone's head, aka reverse psychology. We can name it several things, but she wants to use the word quizzing, so we'll go with that. I asked him when was the last time he was intimate with his wife, and Chris told me that day that the last time he and Shanann had sex was in May, but told me on an earlier date that the two had not been intimate since March or early April. So see, she's got a pretty good memory. She's got a pretty good memory. She is playing some quote-unquote quizzing with him, and she immediately picked up he was lying. Well, Chris has got a pretty good memory, too. She's like, boom, you're lying, March or April. So you can't tell me she didn't do extensive homework on this couple. Can't tell me that. I asked Chris if he used protection when he slept with her because he stated on an earlier date that he used condoms when they had sex. He told me that he had not used protection. Oh, okay. This is on the 14th. Remember the day he had to talk her off of a ledge? She got so mad, ran out to her vehicle, sat in it texting, which Nate, the way he watches everything, should have really picked up on that, right? But anyway, she says right here that Chris told her he did not use protection. So why was she asking him all this on this particular day? When is the last time y'all had sex? And he said May. And then she's like, did you use condoms? She found out that day that Shanann was pregnant. That is the same day Shanann bought Nico's very first little outfit. A little boy's onesie with North Carolina little logo emblem on it. And I feel 100% certain that she sent that picture that we have in the discovery, and it is in one of our past readouts. I feel 100% certain she sent that picture to Chris that day when she got it. And I feel like Nicole was sitting there when he received that picture. And when he opened it, assuming it was probably a picture of the girls or something like that, it was a picture of a baby boy's outfit. And that's why she lost it. What the hell? And she started questioning him. What about this? She's pregnant, isn't she? When is the last time y'all had sex? You told me it was this or that. And he's like, well, it's May. And she's like, well, did you not use condoms? And he's like, no. It all makes sense right here. She don't realize when she's telling all of this, she's actually telling, in my opinion, in my thoughts on herself, that she knew Shanann was pregnant and she lost it. I asked him if he was lying about his separation, and he said no. See, she's really drilling him on sex and times and condoms and separations and all of that on the 14th, the day Shanann sent that picture of the baby boy outfit. And I'll guarantee you, if we went back and really dug into and did the homework, I guarantee you it was all happening at about the same time that she sent the picture. I asked him if he was actively trying to have a child with Shanann since they had unprotected sex, and he said no. I left his house. Okay, she did eventually leave his house, but she did also go out to her car, since she's the one that brought him home. She went out to his car, and before she left, she sat there and texted him, and he texted her back for quite some time, and then he eventually got her to come back in, and he had to coddle her and apologize to her and quote-unquote talk her off of a ledge and all this kinds of stuff. Yeah, so she didn't just leave his house. She eventually did, but it wasn't just boom, I left his house. No. And approximately July the 15th through July the 19th, and continue from above, this is in text and person. He tells me that he still wants a separation, but this time he states it is because he has never met anyone like me. I told him that he better not be doing that for me, and that he needs to be leaving his current situation because it is what he and her both felt is the best for their kids and for themselves. We spoke over the next several days and spent a little time together, but I did not want to be intimate with him. I do not believe that. Definitely not. Not the things she has researched and Googled, and just her text with her friend Charlotte. So yeah, I do not believe that. I kept telling him that I thought he really needed to fix things with her and to not worry about building a relationship with me anymore. Well, I believe she probably did do that. I believe she was like, look, you need to just go fix things with your wife, because she was very pissed off, for lack of a better words, just to be bluntly honest. She was very pissed off that, her words, she was having to play second fiddle to his wife, and he put his wife before her at times, and it was really making her mad. So yeah, I believe she did tell him, look, it's obvious you still love her. You need to go fix things with her. You don't need to be trying to make no relationship with me. Why did she tell him that? I mean, if she's serious about that, then why don't she just walk away, right? I mean, why is she telling him, you got to be the one to walk away, because I'm not going to? You know, that's pretty much what's being said here, because nobody ever walked away. So, I mean, why is she telling him all this? But I do believe she was telling him that. And why do I believe she was telling him that? Pressure and pushing him to either take an ultimatum, her or me. You know, and is it bad that she was giving him an ultimatum? Look, you need to choose one of us. No, it's not bad. It really isn't. He should make, and, you know, he should choose. You know, you can't play both of them. You can't live this double life. So you need to choose. But at the same time, why even give him that damn choice? Why not just say, look, let me choose for you until I find divorce papers, or I see your divorce papers and you living separate from her, then we're done. When that happens, then give me a call. Why didn't she do that? But no, she didn't do that. She kept throwing the ultimatums in his face, but yet kept being his mistress at the same time. That's pressure. I don't care how you look at it. That's pressure. Chris ain't gonna get rid of either. I mean, you know, he's not gonna confront either one of them. I'm done. He's just not gonna do that. He does not like confrontation at all. He just doesn't do that. He's low key. And so he's not the one that's going to confront anyone. They have to do the confronting. And she knew that. I mean, that's pretty obvious. I don't even know Chris personally, and I know that. So she had spent all this time with him. She already knew that. I told him that I'd been asked out on 2 dates since I had known him, and that I did not go on either one, and that I was stood up. Well, so now you're telling him that there's other guys wanting to go out with you, you didn't go out on either date because they stood you up. One, that makes you look kind of bad if they're standing you up. I mean, just saying. That doesn't really look that good on your part. But why even tell him you've been asked out twice? Trying to play the jealousy tactic, making him jealous? And obviously it didn't work. Or did it work? Who knows? But I don't think it did. And then you told him you was stood up. And the whole part about you being stood up, like I say, that kind of really doesn't make it look good on your part. But the only reason I can think that she might have said, well, I was stood up was, I don't know, because she didn't want him to think she was actually seeing anyone else. But at the same time, she wanted him to know that she was being asked out, period. She didn't go out with them, I guess. But it seems to me like saying you're stood up, I don't know, that just doesn't sound that good, but that's what she told him. And I believe she probably was. She told him that he took the respect and trust from their relationship because she felt like he was lying. Well, if you felt like he was lying that soon in the relationship, and supposedly you said that's why you put him out of your life, is because of the lie. Then, if these lies are that important to you, that on the 14th you told him, August the 14th, a month later, you told him, don't get back with me, and you told Kobach it's because of the lie. Well, a month ago, you was already upset about the lying. So why didn't you tell him a month ago, back July the 15th, your own words? You told him that he took respect and trust from y'all's relationship because you felt like he was lying. Okay, if all these lies are that important to you that on the 14th, you pushed him out of your life, you deleted everything in your phone, you told him not to contact you ever again, all this because of the lie, that's what you said. Then why didn't you do that a month prior on July the 15th because of the lie? Just curious. It's just a question I would love an answer to, because on August the 14th, you made it seem like that lie, these lies, was why you just erased him out of your life. Okay, that's what you said. Anyway, okay, going on down, we attempted to have sex 4 times that evening, and he seemed mentally interested, but physically could not perform. 4 times. Oh, but yet right up here, you said you refused to be intimate with him, but then that same evening you tried 4 times and he just couldn't do it. He couldn't perform. Mentally? Yeah, he was all about it. Physically, he wasn't. Why do you think that is? It's because he knew he was wrong. It was guilt. It was shame. That should have told you something right there. That should have told you, look, this isn't going to work. Maybe he's talking a good game, but physically, he's not there. Why am I kidding myself, The lies. The condoms, the sex, the having unprotected sex with his wife. Oh my God, she's pregnant. This was at July the 15th, so why continue on? He's not physically with you. Anyway, I asked him what the problem was several times, and he kept telling me that nothing was wrong. I told him that he was quiet that day, and it seemed like he had something on his mind. And I asked him if what was bothering him had to do with the convo that occurred the previous weekend. The convo about, I think, Shanann being pregnant and her seeing the baby pictures and all that. That's what I think. I asked him if it was bothering him, if what was bothering him had to do with the conversation that occurred the previous weekend, and he said yes. He told me that initially he was mad that I had been asked out on dates. But then he felt that he couldn't be mad because that would make him a hypocrite, and said what was really bothering him was that I kept asking him to try and fix things with Shanann. So see, that kind of tells you that this pressure and these ultimatums and all this stuff that she was throwing out there to him was really starting to get to him. And at that point, I believe he started thinking, I don't go ahead and confront Shanann or something, I'm going to lose Nicole. I don't want that to happen, right? So I've got to do something, or she's going to start going out with other guys, and then she's going to forget about me, and then all this fun's going to end because she's not going to play this game as mistress. So I've really got to do something here. This isn't just a summer rendezvous, I don't want it to end there at the end of summer. So the pressure and the ultimatums were starting to pile up on him at this point. Chris told me that he would attempt to fix things with her when he was in North Carolina, and that he didn't want to talk about it anymore while he was at home. So he was just tired of hearing about it. He was trying to push it in the back of his mind. He didn't even want to think about it. And I think he was just wanting to have this summer rendezvous. And then after summer was over and Shanann got home, I think, just like he had said in a previous text, they wouldn't get to see each other as much as often, but he would make it happen. But then he found out that Nicole wanted more than that. She was not willing to just be a quote-unquote part-time mistress. She wanted to be number one. She was not going to be put on the back burner. And I'm not saying I blame her for that. At the same time, she should have walked away until he was a single guy. Period. The pressure, the ultimatums, the trying to make him jealous, the 10,000 questions, that was nothing more than manipulation tactics and planting seeds, in my opinion. Reverse psychology, there was all kinds of stuff. The sex from then on for the rest of the relationship was greatly reduced from 3 to 4 times a day to 1, maybe 2 times, and was not as intimate when it occurred. Sex no longer happened every day we hung out, but it was still very frequent. So see, as you can see just from her words here, the sex in their relationship was very, very, very important to her. Very important to her. I mean, that was like one of the main things to her. I mean, it's almost like she's an info, right? And I don't know. She's a different kind of person. That's the only way I know to explain it. I mean, he had a wife that loved him. She knew that missed him. Anyway, conversations with Chris while he was in North Carolina on the phone. Chris tells me that he had a conversation with his buddy Mark, who lives in San Diego. Says Mark informed him that many years ago, he believes that Shanann was responsible for a large amount of money that was embezzled from a company that Shanann and Mark both worked for at the time, but that the company was never able to prove who did it. Most everyone knows what this is referring to. Is when she worked at Dirty South, and there was some things going on with that. I've never touched on it on my channel, but that's what she's referring to here. Not even sure why she felt the need to include this in these notes to the police, but, whatever. Wednesday, September the 8th, or August the 8th, I'm sorry, in person. Chris stops by the Frederick, Colorado Toyota dealership to pick up an order of touch-up paint and windshield wipers for my vehicle after he gets off of work. I pre-ordered the paint several weeks ago. He brings them to my house sometime between 3 and 4:30 p.m. that day. Okay, this was Chris's very first day back at work when he got back from North Carolina. He got back from North Carolina on August the 7th. And so on August the 8th, he went to her house and he was out running errands for her and brings the paint between 3 and 4:30 that day. Well, they both worked that day and she doesn't get off till 3. So did he drop it off, or was she not there, or I don't know. Saturday, August the 11th, and I've always said August the 11th was a very big day, and something happened August the 11th. Something triggered Chris's mind in a different direction. I believe, and I still believe, Chris was fully ready to end it with Nicole, but he just didn't have the gall to do it. He just couldn't do it. She said Chris told me he did not have any extra money for a deposit on an apartment. So see, he's dropping hints to her right there that he's broke. Why would he tell her he didn't have the money for a deposit on an apartment? Because she was drilling the hell out of him about, I found you an apartment, so let's go look at this apartment. You need to get this apartment, when in my opinion, this is what was happening. When she gets back from this trip, she's not going to be going nowhere for a while. So unless you have your own place, we're not going to be seeing each other. I think that it's not said here, but I believe if I was a fly on the wall, like I always say, that would have probably been the gist of the actual conversation at hand. I told him that apartments nowadays were so expensive for rent that the damage deposits have to be fairly cheap, because otherwise people cannot afford moving costs. He said that every time he got paid, he just watched his bank account dwindle down. Well, we all do, don't we? I mean, when we get paid, what's the first thing you have to do? Pay bills. Said he wished he had a way to prevent his disposable income from being spent. Disposable income? What is that? I mean, I'm completely lost. I don't even know what that means. What is disposable income? The only thing I can figure is it's just money that you have left after you pay your bills. I told him that it is possible to divide paychecks into multiple bank accounts, but that if he considered doing that, he would need to make sure he was responsible and that his mortgage and kids and his standard monthly bills were covered first. So she's schooling him. She's schooling him on how to open his own checking account and start putting his checks in an account separate from his wife's. That's what it sounds like to me. Or he could take his paycheck and put part of it or a little bit of it into his joint account with Shanann and put the other part of it into a different checking account that Shanann would not have access to. And she's schooling him on, you got to pay your bills first, you got to be responsible. I mean, she's treating him like, he don't know what the hell he's doing. So obviously he must have told her, I've never been in charge of the finances, so I'm lost on that. It's like she's trying to tell him how to be an adult for the most part. I told him if Shanann ever wanted child support, he would still be required by law to show proof of that income, even if it was in a second account. So when did she get so knowledgeable on child support laws, child support guideline laws? If she's never been married, never been through a divorce, never had a child, then why would she be so knowledgeable on child support guideline laws? If you've never been through that, then why would you ever even have looked into it unless you went to law school or something like that, and I don't think a geologist would have to be looking into divorce and child support guideline laws in their course of study. So, obviously, she had been doing some research on that, right? To be able to tell him that. Why? I suggested that if he did decide to do that, perhaps just contribute a small amount that wouldn't impact his current living situation, but would give him a cushion for the first month's bills when he transitioned to an apartment. But that was his discretion. Okay, she's given him suggestions on how to open another checking account that no one knew about, and like a nest egg, a lot of people calls it a nest egg. Extra income that you got that nobody else knows about. She's very good at throwing out ideas on how he can leave his wife and have enough money to make ends meet, and even doing the extra research and homework for him on the child support guidelines, and being very helpful to him in all those ways. But yet she thinks he needs to fix his marriage. Monday, August 13th, text her phone. Suggested the bank account idea again after he told me that he thought Shanann was gone for the night at a friend's house. Oh, well, the night that she was gone and missing, and they had just started go ahead and using his personal phone. She said, well, what about that bank account idea, Why don't you just go ahead and do that now? Does that not sound a bit odd to you? Well, now that she's gone, maybe you need to go ahead and take whatever the hell's out of that bank account and, transfer it into this other one. You need to go ahead and do that now. I don't know. I asked him if any money was missing from their bank account, and Chris said no. Man, she was super worried about how much money he had, wasn't he? I mean, I'm just going to say it. She was super worried about how much money he had, where his money was going, what bank account it was in. I mean, money and sex, and I swear that seems like all we've talked about, right? Okay. Tuesday, 8/14, continued from above. Text. Chris told me he opened up that second bank account so he could start saving for an apartment. So I guess he must have went and opened this second checking account, banking account, before he had his interview with Fox News at 10:30 a.m. that morning. So did he just nonchalantly tell her that, or did she say, well, did you get that checking account took care of? Who knows, but he did tell her that on the 14th. Okay, back to Monday, the 13th. Text. Chris informs me his family is gone and asks me to call him when I have a chance. When I called Chris, he informed me that the cops were at his house and that he would need to call me back. I was unaware that his wife had missed a doctor's appointment, or that his kids missed school that day, or that her friend had tried to contact her and couldn't, or that he had tried to call her and didn't get a response, or that her friend had stopped by the house hours earlier to check on her. I asked him why the cops were there, and he informed me that Shanann's friend Nicole had called them. Chris says that the media are arriving. I was confused and asked him why they were there. Chris tells me that Nicole called the media. And I still don't understand that myself, why Nicole was calling the media. I mean, they would have been informed soon enough, but I don't know. I asked Chris why he believed Nicole would call the cops and the media. He said Nicole was not being very nice to him and informed me that she was sitting in her car on the phone with Shanann's mom. Asked about how Nicole knew Shanann's mom. Chris informed me that Nicole used to work with Shanann's mom. I asked if he thought maybe Nicole was the friend that was helping Shanann to get away for a day. And Chris says no. Why would Nicole be helping Shanann if she is the one who called the cops? I suggest maybe it was to throw them off the trail, and he did not agree. Well, I don't either. I mean, that doesn't even make sense, Nicole. That's just kind of weird. Chris asked me if he should talk to the media, and I initially told him no, and then suggested that if he decided to talk to them, that maybe he could ask Shanann to bring the kids back. So that was kind of her idea. She says it right here, the part where he says, Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, please just come back. All that spill that he did right there. Nicole states right here that she's the one that told him to say that. I was uncomfortable with him asking for my advice on the media, so I then asked him what his friends thought he should do about the media. Chris said that his friends believed that it would look bad if he didn't speak to the news and thought that he should make a statement. And then phone. I asked Chris if the cops had attempted to search his friends' houses since he believed that Shanann had gone to stay with a friend. He told me no, they had not. I asked him why not, and he told me he didn't know why they hadn't. I asked him why Nicole did not like him. He said he wasn't sure. I asked Chris if Nicole was married and how well he knew Nicole and her husband. He informed me that he didn't know her husband hardly at all. I again suggested that maybe Nicole was the one who may be helping Shanann to hide out from him for a while, and Chris said maybe, but he didn't really seem like he was entertaining the idea. I asked him if he thought she was with another man, and Chris said it was possible, but he didn't think so. I asked if he thought his family was in danger, and Chris said that if my kids are with her, then they are safe. Never said he was worried or concerned about his family unless I prompted the question. Well, I mean, you were popping off questions left and right, so I don't know. Looking back on everything, I am so glad that Nicole showed up that day to check on her friend. Well, that's not what you were saying. You were saying that, well, what is she doing there? And why is she, having such a fit? And it's not really a big deal. August the 13th, phone. Chris says his home camera shows him leaving for work at 5:15, like usual that morning. Chris tells me that his home alarm system notified him that at 9:10 his garage door opened, but that he never received a notification on his phone, and then it closed again. I asked him if his garage was open when he got home from work that day, and he told me no. I asked Chris if he thought that Shanann left out the garage at 9:10 that morning. He suggested that she either left out the garage door or the back door because there is no footage of her leaving from his front door camera. I asked Chris if there was any sign of forced entry, and he told me no. He told me that he didn't want to keep talking about that subject and asked me to talk about something else. And see, Chris even mentions the back door. What I don't get is through this whole thing, for the most part, the only emphasis that was paid on anything of how she could leave or anything like that was the front door. However, and I feel like that's because of the cameras, the doorbell camera, Nate's camera, all that kind of stuff. Well, here's the thing. There was no way, obviously, she could have left out the front door. One, because it wasn't on any of the security cameras. Two, because it was locked from the inside. So, I mean, that rules that out automatically, right? So, I don't think there was enough emphasis put on the possibility that she could have went out the back, on that. I mean, I know it said that the sliding glass door was down and there was something in it like a wedge or something to where it couldn't open. But then you have there's several different ways out of that house. The basement, the garage, there's just many different ways. The back door, None of that really had much emphasis at all put on it. Even when they would go and have to do like a check of the home, when there was like a call after the fact, like September the 21st and things like that, there was never no emphasis put on the back of the house. I mean, when the police department showed up to check out these calls where people were seen walking into the house, this dark-haired lady, but they never came out, all that kind of stuff, every one of the officers that showed up, and there were several, I'm going to say there was 2, 4, at least 5 or 6, right? They all went in the front door. None of them even went to the back. None of them even looked at any of the basement from the outside. Nothing like that. They all only focused on that front door. Around here, if there was a call like that made, and say 5 or 6 cops came to that call, and responded to the call, what would happen is half of them would go around back. They would kind of split up and surround the house, and a couple would go in the front door, but they wouldn't all go in the front door like they were a marching band, all walking in one door. It's odd to me how they handle these situations, and I do believe that there should have been more emphasis put on the possibility that, they could have went out some other way besides the front door. The front door was locked from the inside. Obviously she didn't go out the front door. There just should have been more emphasis put other places. I mean, the cadaver dogs hit nowhere. Except at the foot of the stairs in the basement. Okay, here's the thing. It wasn't a hard hit, and the second dog couldn't confirm the hit. That is true. But the first dog did give a small command right there. And at the bed in the basement. These small commands, however, like I say, the second dog did not confirm them. They were pretty much, ruled out. But, I don't know. I just think more emphasis should have been put more places other than just the front door. Okay, we're going to end this part right here. When we come back with part 29, we're going to be going into Nicole Kessinger's property and evidence form. Okay, guys, if you learned anything new here, and, just was able to grasp at any new straws with this readout, we would really appreciate a thumbs up or even a thumbs down. Even a thumbs down if it just wasn't for you, or you didn't learn anything new, or it just bored you to death. Either one. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Share it with your buddies, your groups. And until next time, this is Unjustified.